India's AI moment is here, and it's rewriting the future. From healthcare to battlefields, ethics to innovation, AI is reshaping every frontier. What's India's playbook for the age of intelligence? Top names from global giants show the way ahead. At the Business Today AI Summit 2025, October 29th.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our fantastic coverage on quarterly earnings. We are today joined by Mr. Ashok Atluri, Chairman and Managing Director at drone and anti-drone maker Zen Technologies. The stock, ladies and gentlemen, has recovered from an intraday low of about 1305, still down 4.4% at 1334. And the reason is not far to guess. Year-on-year slump of 28% on sales to about 174 crores for the quarter gone by, ended September. Net profit slumped 6% to about 62 crore rupees for the quarter gone by versus 63.4 crore rupees as far as the bottom line is concerned. Operational efficiency is in place, but due to the fractured and unpredictable nature of defense orders, we have a slip in the top line. Apart from that, margins are in place and there is a sequential recovery in both revenue as well as profit after tax. To discuss this and a lot more, Mr. Atluri is with us. Namaste to you, Ashok ji, and a very warm welcome. After the success of Operation Sindoor, one would have imagined that your order book would have swelled considerably. But here we see a lumpy nature of the business getting reflected in the top line. What caused the delay in orders and how do you see the quarter gone by?
Yeah, so there's no doubt that Operation Sindoor was almost a key moment for Zen's existence, and this happened only in May. So I think for government to act on the the benefits that they got during Operation Sindoor from a private company to now is there is some time to be taken, and they are acting very fast on that. The emergency procurement has started. They have started floating tenders, and we have started participating. But the point here is that the downside of that Operation Sindoor was because they started very fast with the procurement on the operational equipment. The procurement of training simulators and equipment have slowed down, and we were expecting a lot of orders in that regard in H1, but they didn't materialize. But we are very hopeful in H2 they will materialize sooner than later. And I think once the order book is in place, we should be able to hit our targets in 27 and 28.
Okay, Mr. Atluri, at this point of time, what is the order book situation and what about the guidance for the rest of the year? Are you in sync with that? Will that be achieved?
Yeah, so the order book as of now is about 675 crores. Equipment is about 375 and annual maintenance contracts about 300 crores. So we think some part of most part of this will be executed, and maybe with little more addition. But again, what we are saying is that orders which are supposed to come materialize, had they come even in H1 at some point in time, some of it would have been executed in H2. But this year being muted, we think the benefit of the orders will be reaped in FY27 and 28, because the order book, we expect that order book to start building in H2 of FY26, and later in FY27 and 28 we think the orders will come in those years also, but the execution will be much stronger than in the FY26.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there's been about a 40-45% correction in the stock price. The previous peak that we had seen was somewhere in the vicinity of about 2,300 rupees. That was in the month of December 2024 when the stock touched 2,500. After that, Zen Technologies has also raised a QIP at around 1700 rupees per share. Mr. Atluri, what are the updates on the utilization of those proceeds in terms of acquisitions that you had informed you would do and those that are in the pipeline?
We have almost used about 600 crores out of that as the utilization has happened. But fortunately, because we have generated so much of cash with our operations, the cash book, the cash still is at a very decent 1100 crores. So, and the utilization has happened in terms of acquisition of companies, which we have, 4 or 5 acquisitions that have happened, and of course, utilization for working capital. So having said that, with the existing funds that we have, we are still looking for some acquisition targets to deepen our stronghold in naval simulation and also in electronic warfare, especially anti-drone segment that we are currently in. And we are also looking at some other companies that could for 25 years we were in army simulation. Then we diversified into anti-drone systems. We expect, if we can get a similar kind of opportunity to invest in a very, very IP-rich company with a prospect of 2 to 3 years, or maybe even longer, becoming global #1 in that new field, we would love to do that. But yes, we are looking for acquisitions with the money that we have. That is the agenda point that still remains. But again, from the point of view of the utilization of the raised funds, I think we have already achieved, you used much of those funds.
Okay. At the moment, would you require fresh funds, or are cash flows as well as those being generated from the business enough to see you through?
So, we don't have any need of the cash funds given the current situation. The acquisitions that we are looking at don't require funds at this point in time, and working capital is also sufficiently funded. And we have 1100 crores. I think it's a very, very safe position to be in. Unless a very large acquisition or something new comes up, we don't see any need for raising any funds at this point in time.
Okay. While there was this lumpy nature of the business getting reflected in a slip in the top line, what really worked was the operational efficiency. You've been able to maintain margins on both the net and the operating level. Is this a trend that you see going forward as well?
Absolutely. I think we will be able to maintain this. We have been saying for some time that 35% EBITDA and a PAT of 25% was our target, and we try to maintain. I mean, we feel that given the prospects that we are pursuing now, the leads that we are converting now, we should be able to maintain these target of 35% EBITDA.
Okay. And at this point of time, would you help our viewers to understand what is the sectoral breakup of the revenue that you've posted in terms of different revenue streams that you have?
Yes, so out of the 235 crores that we have done, and we have done about 120 crores of ADS and about 98 crores of simulators. So this is almost a 50% thing that's going on, give or take a bit. But overall, I think ADS, thanks to post Sindoor, there was a strong performance in Sindoor, Operation Sindoor. The demand for anti-drone systems is rising. But again, thanks to the, not thanks, but for the kind of jitteriness that's all over the world, especially after Ukraine-Russia war, and before that Azerbaijan-Armenia war, and now even the strangest of wars are happening between Cambodia and Thailand. Nobody imagined that they would be going to war. So general sense is that we should be prepared for wars, and because of that, the training equipment and simulators are also seeing a huge interest from both the export and the domestic market. So overall, we are at a sweet spot that both while the drones remain a threat, anti-drone systems will be in great demand, and while wars, hang over us like Damocles sword, we will have more demand for training simulators and equipment.
Okay. Generally, after this Operation Sindoor that happened in the month of May, what is the kind of feedback that you are getting from the Defense Ministry in terms of, is there a urgency for procurement? I'm sure a lot of inventory would have been depleted because of Sindoor. Therefore, that needs to be replaced. New and better upgrades need to work. What is your gut feel about how the Defense Ministry has changed its ways of working, if at all?
I think one thing is in Operation Sindoor, they found out that Indian companies have done extraordinarily well, especially Zen simulator were working across the wide band, not only commercial frequencies, which many of the other companies were doing. So they saw that this is a strong Indian owned IP company that has really performed very well, and that was we got a pat on the back and from the ground level up to the top decision makers. And so of course this led to to the formulation of a strategy that they want to proliferate it across all the areas where this kind of protection is required. So yes, I think this Operation Sindoor was a good eye opener, and also it proved and it differentiated the people who are just making anti-drone systems to stop DJI kind of drones versus the ones which were actually useful in war. So that was the plus point, and of course, I think the demand is the armed forces are really seized of the matter, and they're really increasing the demand, and the buying has taken place in a very positive sense. But I do hope that in their hurry to buy, they don't try to push non-Indian products. I think this is a time that the Atmanirbharta factor can really be implemented in letter and spirit. They should go for Indian-owned IP only, because we have seen the evolution in the last 3-4 years. Zen's anti-drone systems have version 2, 3 have developed. Initially, it was just commercial drones. Then they become wideband. Then they become GPS proof, then they become completely hard kill. So we have been evolving, and not only that, we are offering our customers a route to upgrade. So that is not unheard of, and very fast upgrade. We are not trying to say, and we are at a very reasonable price. This is, if they were to buy some foreign equipment, they would be really, really squeezed. So I think that realization probably is there, and Zen will be a big beneficiary of this.
Okay. Now, you've touched upon the topic yourself. I wanted to understand between last year, the same quarter in 2024, and this year in 2025, have you been able to raise your level of indigenization, that is, reduce your dependence on overseas technology as well as overseas raw materials and inputs? Has there been any progress?
Yeah, so we actually have much more indigenization level than that is officially required of 60%. Sometimes even 50% is sufficient. So
Okay.
we have done, in some cases, our indigenization has gone from 75% up to 90% also. So yes, the indigenization is a relentless path. It is not a optional, once in a while to pleasing kind of a thing that we regularly do on a daily basis. And more than that, the thing is, the offering has expanded, which was only soft kill. We initially just the 3 parts were being made: the detector, jammer, and drone. But later, then we started integrating the camera, which we started making in-house with our subsidiary AI Turing. Then there was a requirement of a hard kill. We bought a remote control weapon station, then collaborate with the local weapon manufacturer. So all the offering, the expanse of the offering is also increased so both the depth and the breadth has increased in the past 1 year significantly, and that is what the Indian government also wanted, and so we are completely aligned with the objectives of the government in this regard.
Okay. Zen is primarily and popularly known as a drone maker, as also now your anti-drone businesses have grown substantially. But for the next medium term, say the next 3 years, how do you see your revenue stream getting diversified, especially in the light of acquisitions that you are making?
So, I think one thing is that we actually don't make a drone, even though popularly we are perceived as a drone maker. We make drone, we have a company called Vector Techniques that specializes in creating indigenized motors and various indigenized parts, which is basically import substitute for the Chinese components, and at a very competitive price. So the main two segments that we do are simulators, training simulators and equipment, and anti-drone systems. So these are the two segments in which we are absolutely number one in India, and and in army simulators we are absolutely number one globally, and in anti-drone system we are definitely top there, and probably in the top three. So yes, so these are the two things that we are really focusing on, and we expect that as we go from army, we acquired a naval simulation company. We are also looking to become very strong in air force simulation. So then that will provide a tri-services. So this is one direction that we are going on. In anti-drone segment, we want to become a little deeper, get more hard kill options, so that we can really take care of all the enemy drones which are coming into the Indian airspace. So I think, yeah, so these are the two areas. We are also looking, probably, one condition for us to acquire, get into a new field is that unless we have a roadmap for becoming number one globally, we don't want to enter into a new field. So that is the thing that we are looking at. If we want to get into a third, will be ensure it should ensure that we actually have a road plan, and the company is very rich in IP, and we can help them achieve that global leadership position.
Fair point. In your own understanding and gut feel, how do you see the geopolitical situation in the world? Of course, chaos as well as war is something that humans generally don't look forward to. But for weapon makers such as you, that is good news. How much of good news is there in the market for companies such as you, and how much of good news you see priced in your stock?
One thing is that we don't see war as a good news for Zen. We think it's destructive all around, and the whole purpose we always talk about is that how do we make India so strong that enemy finds it difficult to even imagine that attacking India. That is what our objective is. Never to get into war. War is very destructive business. And if you see, we don't make actually any weapons, in the sense that we make a training simulator, which is sustainable in very sustainable way of training people. And second, we have got into the anti-drone segment, which was very defensive. And again, we have weapon systems that are meant to only destroy incoming drones. So we are not really a weapon manufacturer in that sense. But overall, our feeling is that the only way to prevent war is to become unbeatable, unassailable, invincible. And that is what the whole objective of Zen is. How do we make India unbeatable in war? And in that direction, we are trying to create absolutely world-class products. We can't have the best in India. It has to be best in the world. So that is where we are trying to strengthen ourselves and the armed forces by providing absolutely cutting-edge technologies in simulation and anti-drone systems, and even the ecosystem of drones at this point in time.
Okay, fair point. A comment on sales coming from overseas markets?
Yeah, I think there is a tremendous demand for our Indian, thanks to this government's stance of promoting defense equipment worldwide, which wasn't earlier the case. We are getting lot of support from the government, even though nowadays the clearance is a little longer than what was a few months back. Export clearance are a little difficult to get, which shouldn't have been the case. But now overall the government is very positive environment created, and all the friendly nations are looking at India to buy their equipment. And post Operation Sindoor, which was a great statement where our anti-drone systems effectively stopped a lot of these the Turkish and Chinese drones. So we are getting a lot of inquiries, and we think exports will form a major part of our scaled up revenues. So we are aiming at least 30% of the revenues to come from exports as we go into the future. And the markets that we are very encouraging are Africa, Middle East, CIS countries, and now Southeast Asia. Our new acquisition, that ARI for naval simulation, they have a very strong presence in Southeast Asia. So their team is helping us penetrate the Southeast Asian market as we speak.
That's an interesting thought. A view from Western Europe, all of Europe seems to be rearming given the complexities of this Russian-Ukraine battle that refuses to end. What are the thought processes, what are the demands, and what are the kind of inquiries that you are facing from Western Europe in particular?
So, Europe and the NATO market, EU and American market are something that we are trying to address from the US market, but we are also looking at, having a presence in Europe as we speak. And we expect that if and when we make an acquisition or set up a place in Europe, I think there may be a significant breakthrough. Again, in terms of the product that we think we have absolutely number one. So we need the marketing effort to actually penetrate this market. Even though we widely believe that, because they come and preach us that, please open up your markets, we think that it is very easy to sell in American and European markets. But they are one of the most protected markets in the world. The defense is very, very difficult to sell unless you have, a presence there. And the majority is typically owned by, they would love to have Americans or Europeans owning that company. So there are there are ways to work around that, but they require some time. So we are working in that direction and trying to comply with the spirit and letter of the law of the land and try to get in a major way. But I think, as you rightly have an intuition, Europe is a very big market, and we have to be there. So that effort is being on an ongoing basis.
Okay. Mr. Atluri, before we call it a day, what would be the top three priorities for Zen Technologies in the remaining half of the financial year FY26?
I think the first would be, accelerating the order book to reach its full potential, but domestically. And second is work on the exports in a very, very big way and try to create a potential for big order book there. And third is keep the R&D on, directly in-house R&D and even inorganic. Most of our acquisitions have been in terms of R&D acquisitions. So the third thing would be, accelerate and go deepen the R&D capabilities of the company to align for future needs of the country.
Okay. With that, Mr. Atluri, we'll call it a day. It's always a pleasure to get an update from you on how Zen Technologies is performing every quarter. Here's wishing you all the best, and here's wishing that things calm down, but revenues and sales at Zen Technologies continue to soar as they have been in the past. Thank you for joining us, sir. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Mr. Ashok Atluri, CMD of Zen Technologies. Please stay glued to Business Today Television. There's a lot that's happening on the other side of the break. Have a nice day.
India's AI moment is here, and it's rewriting the future. From healthcare to battlefields, ethics to innovation, AI is reshaping every frontier. What's India's playbook for the age of intelligence? Top names from global giants show the way ahead. At the Business Today AI Summit 2025, October 29th.
There's a rather high-profile and very public feud playing out over the inheritance of Sanjay Kapoor. Sanjay Kapoor's net worth was over 30,000 crores as a businessman and chairman of automotive